Hey everyone, happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day if there are any fathers, although I was looking at the list and I was just seeing mostly women today and thought maybe dads are out doing their thing. You guys hear me okay? No earbuds this weekend. Okay, good. Because look who's back! Dave's back. And so we can't, oh, isn't he the sweetest? I think I'm going to stay married to him. So we have some fun things planned for you today. The topic of the class is the Meaty vegan, which I'm going to explain in a minute, but I need to do the thing that I love to do, which is ask you all in chat. If you're new to Zoom, look at the bottom of your window. You see a chat bubble. If you click that, that's how you can communicate with Dave and I. And I'd love for you to tell me where you're viewing from today. So if you can just drop in your location. All right, we've got St. Paul, Minnesota. We've got Oregon and New Jersey and Kansas. And if you're wondering why I'm saying this, because I know people will be watching later on YouTube. Dave's all excited. See, he's not in here with me every Sunday. He doesn't know what's going on. Indiana, California, Boston, Lincoln, Nebraska, Key West, Florida. I'm telling you, we really need to get to Key West. Fairbanks, yay. Oh yeah, that's Bobby. She came to Colorado Springs.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Hey,
Bobby. So welcome everybody. I'm so excited to see you. And then one real quick thing that I love to do, you don't have to. A lot of you keep your video off during class so you can do private things. If you want to say hello and wave to me, I'm actually going to change my view so I can see your beautiful faces. Oh, I see waving. Look, Dave. Isn't it amazing? So good to see you guys. Yay. Okay, so back to speaker view. Here we are. Okay, you guys, so we have some fun plans for you today. Today's t-shirt is brought to you by PETA. I personally feel that SeaWorld sucks, so I'm just going to put it out there. You know, you're going to get some message from me every Sunday, and this is what happens because it matched my blue jeans and my blue shoes. So anyway, and what do you have, Dave?
Oh, I am rocking the Kitty Rotten punk band shirt. My good friend Claire from elementary school, middle school, high school. Her husband's in a band. We did a band t-shirt swap, so I'm
and they're vegan.
And they are. So
and they rescue animals. Yay. Okay, so here's what we have planned today. So if you're brand new to us, and particularly if you're watching YouTube later, my name's JL Fields. I live in Colorado Springs. I'm the founder of the Colorado Springs Vegan Cooking Academy, which took a hiatus during the pandemic. This is, I think, our 13th class every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We have been doing free online cooking classes. And oh, I smell some beautiful sauce that I'm going to bring the temperature down. And today's topic, Dave was here, I think like week 2 or 3 for a vegan pizza class. You can see that on the YouTube channel or on my website. And he's back because today's topic is the Meaty vegan. Although I'm realizing there might be something some of you want to know. We had a newsletter exclusive giveaway for my new book, Vegan Baking for Beginners. And I'm going to start dropping some links. So this is the book, and I'm going to announce the winner. And I don't know if she's here, and she doesn't have to be, but it's always fun. So this is the new book that's coming out on July 7th. And the winner is Donna Spencer. Is Donna Spencer here? I'm just going to type in Donna Spencer is the winner, and I can email her later if she's not here. And I wanted to let you guys know, happy Father's Day. Yeah, that was nice, Linda. Yes, definitely happy Father's Day to all the fathers, or to the men, or people who are binary, or anyone who feels like they parent or father, and this is your day. I want you to celebrate it. Dave's an awesome father to our cat and dog who are sequestered right now. So you guys, remember the last class we talked about the next upcoming classes. So next Sunday is going to be vegan grilling. And Dave and I are going to be out on the deck, actually. That could be a, sorry, I'm just going to say it. Could be a total shit show. We'll see what happens. But we're going to give it a try. Sorry if I offended you, but it's true. And then we're going to take July 4th off. Oh, there's Arthur.
Art.
A friend of ours. We miss you, Art and Steve. Oh, good. Lyric is going to watch from the porch. And oh, we have Hawaii here. Amazing. Okay, so anyway, we're going to take the 4th of July off, mainly because Mama needs a break. And then July 12th, I will be back in Illinois with my family, but we're going to do the class, and that is going to be Vegan Baking for Beginners. It's really going to be Vegan Basics 101. And I decided to turn it into a book party because the book comes out on that Tuesday, and then it's going to be our next class. So I'm going to encourage all of you to buy some champagne or some sparkling water or some gruet in New Mexico, and let's have some sparkling drinks together, because at that point, that will be our 15th class together. Kind of exciting. And then I wanted to announce before we dive in, and Dave's like, why do you have me standing here for an hour? It's like, welcome to my world.
I am watching the clock.
Okay.
So, you know,
Okay. Well, oh, we have somebody who I think is still trying to get in. I'm not sure. Judy, are you in? I hope you're in, Judy. What was I going to say? So I've been talking for a while about how I want to try to keep this model going. As you know, I've been accepting tips during this time since I had to stop my culinary work, and I want to thank you so much. I actually have a very generous, I almost want to call her a donor. Like, she even donates before the class starts, and you know who you are, and thank you for that. But I did come up with a model that I'm kind of excited about. So when you go to my website, you're going to see that after July 12th, the classes will continue. You're going to be required to register now, so you'll have to go to my website to register. But it can still be free for you if you want it to be free. So it's a pay what you can class. And so I have a suggested class amount. You can pay $0, you can pay more, you can pay less, you can do whatever you want. So I think that's a way for us to keep this model going, where if you can pay, that's super. If you can't, I want you here. I want you to learn about vegan cooking. So I'm really excited about it. And you guys throughout these last 13 weeks have really helped make that model happen. So oh, also, before we get started, you know, I like to let you know what I'm drinking. I'm drinking local today. So for those of you who don't know, I used to be a big wine girl, and then I decided I wanted to love beer, and I gave it a shot last year, and obviously I became very, very good at it. This is from Trinity Brewing here in Colorado Springs. It's called Some Weird Sin, which is a Iggy Pop song, but it's actually brewed with Zinfandel grape must in a Zinfandel barrel. So it's really beautiful. It's got sort of that red Zin look, and that's what I'm having today. So cheers for anybody who's participating. And, you know, some of you are drinking your kombucha or ginger ale or whatever, and, you know, oh, and cheers. And Dave's drinking some skunky Carlsberg stuff from Germany that happens to be vegan. So yay. Okay, Denmark, whatever.
Denmark, Germany.
Finland, I don't know, that's a whole other shit. Okay, so the Meaty Vegan. Why are we doing a Meaty Vegan class? So as you know, when Dave, you can come into this if you want. As you know, when we talked during the vegan pizza class, it's weird, I don't know where you are. I don't know.
Right here.
Okay, wait, you go here. I don't know. Okay.
Don't move.
So Dave and I approach our veganism differently, and we're going to talk about that a little bit during the class. And what I mean by that is we're both vegan, and our household is vegan. And but our motivations are a little bit different. Like when we're in a car and we're driving somewhere and I go past a pasture with cows, I roll down the window and I say, I love you, I will never eat you, because that's the kind of vegan I am. And Dave is a little bit different. Like Dave, I kind of accidentally or on purpose started, when I went vegan, he started like going to events with me. Like I'd take him to a PETA event or a Mercy for Animals event. And so like slowly over time, he just like would say, okay, I'm not going to eat bacon anymore, or I'm not going to eat beef anymore. So he was slowly kind of removing things. And then when we moved to Colorado from New York, he's like, well, why don't we just keep our new place vegetarian? And I was like, cool, thanks. And we did that. And then we bought this condo about 6 months after we moved here. And he's like, well, why don't we just keep the home vegan? And then I'll just do whatever I want to do. I'm like, cool. So then we went to Denver one night and we saw the film Cowspiracy, which is really about environment. And we were in the car and it was dark. It was like 9:30 or 10 at night. And Dave just mumbles. He's driving and he goes, I guess I'm vegan. And I was like, I look out the window. It's like dark. You know, I don't want him to see it. I'm going, and I go, oh, cool, right on. So anyway, that's kind of how it happened. So I always say that Dave's sort of a reluctant vegan because he knows all the facts. So he's like, how can I not be vegan? But that doesn't mean he doesn't like the food. And I'm not trying to talk for you. I'm just trying to like lay the land of what we're going to do today. Because it's not just about what does Dave like to eat and that's what you should eat. That's not the point. The point of this class is a lot of people, you might live in a multivore home where one of you eats one way and someone else eats the other way, and you're trying to find these compromise meals where everyone is satisfied and you can stay connected to your ethical or health motivations or environmental motivations. And so we approach our meals very differently. Like you'll see, well, first off, you can see how small this kitchen is. So when you see on Instagram, when I say dinner by Dave, the reason it's not by both of us is because we can't be in here together. So one of us is in charge. So when I'm making dinner, it tends to be a little bit more, without trying to use any kind of food judgment, let's just say more wholesome, because I tend to eat a little bit differently than Dave does. Like if it comes in a package, Dave doesn't mind. Listen, I don't mind either, but my 55-year-old body would prefer me to eat a few other things right now. So we try to find compromises. So on taco night, Dave might do Beyond Meat or Gardein meatless crumbles, or Impossible Burger, and some like black beans. My taco is gonna have black beans in it. So we find a way that we just can make it all sort of work. So today's class is we're gonna show you how to make homemade seitan, because I know for some of you, you haven't made it yet. And so Dave is gonna take you through that. And then Dave is gonna show you how to make our, he just thought of something. And then Dave is going to show you how he makes some meatballs that are absolutely delicious with either Beyond Meat or with Impossible. And we had Impossible today. As you know, on Sundays, I just cook with whatever we have left in the kitchen. And then I'm going to show you how to make vegan wings with soy curls. And so I think that's Amazon. And that's Harry barking. Harry does not like a doorbell. So anyway, we're gonna have soy curl buffalo wings. We're gonna have Impossible Foods burger or meatballs, and we're gonna have some seitan. So that's the plan. So I'm just checking in to see if we have any questions. It looks like everybody's in. Judy's in, and okay. Any questions right now about what we're doing while I wait for Dave to come back? Okay. So a couple things I want to drop in. Here's the link to the seitan recipe. It's on my website. It's gone through modifications over the years. So this is the corned beef recipe. That's what we'll be doing. And the base of that, what book did you get? Oh, you're so cute. You got one of my books. Okay. And then someone else asked, sorry about this. If you want to leave a tip, yes, it's through PayPal. Sorry about that. And that is if you want to leave a tip. And I think that's the only link that I'm going to do for right now. So also, if you don't want to go to the link, I'm going to drop in the ingredients to the seitan. So any questions before we get started? We're going to start with the seitan. We're going to move on to the meatballs. And then we're going to do some buffalo soy curls. Does it sound good? Are we in? Are we ready? And you guys may have noticed I didn't give you cook-along ingredients this week. Two reasons. One, most of you aren't cooking along with me. You did it the first couple of weeks, and then I think you were kind of like, you know what, entertain us, JL. Secondly, we really just took our time this week. We didn't want to overwhelm you, and we wanted to use what we had left in the kitchen because we don't start to get new ingredients until Mondays. So we are just cooking with what we have in our house. So we're keeping it real. So with that, I don't see any questions. So Dave, would you like to start talking about seitan?
Sure. So another reason it's not a cook-along is seitan is a little labor-intensive. Is that a good word?
No.
A lot of ingredients? Fair amount of ingredients?
I guess.
I don't know. Anyways, but I think there's a lot of ingredients. However, it's easy. And I say that because there's this cookbook that I found. It's amazing. I don't know who wrote it.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, she's a genius. But there's a seitan recipe in here that even I can do in a pressure cooker. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Going back to what JL was saying about how we eat a little bit differently, I think that if I had tried to go vegan when she went vegan, I would have failed. I really like a lot of the food substitutes that are available now compared to what was available when
10 years ago.
10 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago, it was awful. So I love Gardein products. I love Impossible Burger. I love Beyond Burger. And that keeps me going. So seitan is great because you can alter the recipe a little bit and make it more chickeny, more beefy, more whatever. We've made corned beef with seitan, and that's kind of what we're doing here. Actually, it's more of a beefy seitan, not really the corned beef one. But so what we have, I did cut some corners here to make it a little less prep intensive. So So in here, if y'all can see this, I've put all the dry ingredients in the stand mixer.
Here, like this.
There we go. Okay, bunch of dry ingredients. We've got 1.5 cups of wheat gluten. I'm going to read off of this, so I apologize. 1/4 cup garbanzo bean flour. Basically, you have the ingredients in the chat window. All the dry ingredients are in here. Now, I added a couple different things that are not in the recipe in that author's book. What is her name?
Fabulous?
Yes. I've added some rosemary, some tomato powder to give it a little bit of color. Seitan is generally quite gray, dark gray. This actually makes it look a little meatier and has a better presentation with that.
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute because we have some questions.
Yes.
So Adrian asked if, someone said SeaWorld does suck. Adrian asked if she doesn't have a stand mixer, if you can use a regular mixer. And this is a kneading function.
Yeah.
And so a hand mixer is going to whisk and beat for you, but just use your hand. You just use your hands and knead it. And Dave does it for 5 minutes, knead with the dough hook on, I think we do medium, sort of at the mid-range with a stand mixer. You could do your hand, just hand knead it for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But true story, this morning, I put a small batch together because I wanted it to be ready for you so we could make a sandwich with it to show you. Oh yeah, I'll bring the bread out. I didn't have enough in the stand mixer for the dough hook to actually reach. So I threw it, Linda, you're gonna love this. Linda, who just had a birthday and she bought a bread machine. I put it in the bread machine and used the knead function on that for 7 minutes and it worked perfectly. So if you have anything else in your house that can knead, or the original kneading is your hands. So I hope that answered your question, Adrian. And then someone had asked, oh, this is cute. Lyric said that she reached over trying to look into the bowl. So I'm glad we pulled that down for you. What is tomato powder? Sorry, I always make assumptions because I've been using it a lot in the classes the last 13 weeks, and it's going to be featured in my next book coming out in the fall because I absolutely love it. So this is tomato powder. It's a dehydrated tomato. And what's great about it is by buying it in bulk and keeping it here, when you need tomato sauce, you can actually just add water to this and make tomato sauce instead of opening like a 16-ounce can. To make tomato paste, you can do it. But just by adding a little of the dry tomato powder, you bring an umami pop, you bring out a little bit of that ripe tomato flavor. And truthfully, sometimes when you have, like in the winter and you buy tomatoes and they're not very ripe, you can sprinkle a little tomato powder on the unripened tomatoes and it kind of makes the flavor pop. So so it's for color in this case for the seitan because we want it to look sort of meaty and beefy, but it also brings out a little bit umami. And then there was one other question that I will just, that was sent to me privately and I'll just answer here, which is someone asked, what's the gluten-free alternative to using the seitan? What's wrong?
No, I wondered if I don't know if there is a good
well, I think there are some culinary geniuses out there who are really good around gluten-free cooking, who I think have come up with some gluten-free meat recipes that might be close to seitan. I've tried it, haven't nailed it, and so I bow down to the people who are gluten-free experts. So I would say Google it and look for it, but we do not have that option for you today. The soy curls are gluten-free. And I think I don't know if the Impossible is gluten-free or not. But you can use any, when Dave makes the meatballs, you can use any meatless crumbles. Hey, there you go. Okay, so keep going, Dave, sorry.
That's okay. So I put all the dry ingredients in the stand mixer ahead of time. And then what I have in, we'll show that in a second. And then I'm gonna add right now the liquid ingredients, which is some extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of molasses, some low sodium tamari, and what's the last one? A little bit of beef broth in this case, a little bit of beef broth.
Beef,
quote unquote, yeah. I put it all together so it looks absolutely horrible, just to save a whole bunch of time and
dishes, because I'm tired of doing dishes on Sundays.
So
I love you guys.
Pour it all in. And
I'll time it.
gonna let it go. I might have to go back and scrape down the sides a little bit.
Do you want me to bring up the other hand?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we're gonna let this go for about 5 minutes till it forms a nice mass.
You're looking for like a bread dough texture that is tackier. So bread dough, you kind of want to push it a little bit and it sort of springs back. We're looking for something a little tackier. The way we're going to cook it is in the pressure cooker, but there is another method. Actually, I'm going to give you both methods right now, is steaming or pressure cooking. I'm going to drop both methods here in the chat. And I steamed the one earlier today just so you can kind of see the texture, but we didn't want to wait until the pressure cooked one is done. You can also boil it. So with the pressure cooker method that we just gave you, you can put that same cook broth into a big pot on the stove, but you're going to do it for closer to an hour. So if you do it in the pressure cooker, you're going to do it for 30 minutes. And if you do it on your stovetop, you're going to do it for an hour to an hour and a half. Now, the thing that I'll say about seitan is that a lot of people think you make the seitan and then you can eat it. And it's true, you can. But usually for us, we make the seitan as a base, and then it becomes something else. And so what I mean by that is when we bring this, the seitan roast out later from the pressure cooker, we'll preserve them either in the freezer or in the refrigerator with the cook broth. And then one night this week, we might decide that we want seitan tacos. We're just going to chop up or grind some of that seitan and then season it with like chipotle powder and chili powder and cayenne pepper and jalapenos and onion and garlic and like saute it and then put it in some tacos. Or maybe we decide we want some country fried steak. Maybe we'll dredge it in a little flour and we'll air fry it. And so for us, when we make seitan, it's kind of the base. But earlier today, I made the version of the corned beef. So you could see, and I steamed it. And what we're going to do is show you how we turn that into a yummy sandwich. So I'm going to bring this down. So first, a couple of things about the steaming. So you're going to see some foil. Don't freak out. The foil didn't touch the seitan. I wrapped it in parchment paper first, then put the foil around it because I really wanted to retain the shape of the roast, right? So if I put the parchment paper on, first off, it would have kind of come apart when I was steaming it. And then also in the steam, I think I tell you 30 minutes. Today, it was an hour. And honestly, sometimes it just kind of varies. So I would say start with 30 minutes, check it. It was just too tacky when it was done. So this is a steamed, I just have the recipe, but I want you to see the color on this. And this is where the tomato powder really came out. So look at the meatiness of this. And this is supposed to be sort of like a corned beef. And then just look at the texture with this. And we keep it, I put it in the freezer just to give it a little bit more texture when we shave it. Dave, do you want to, you got 2 more minutes on that. I want him to do the mandolin because it terrifies me.
Yeah, it's going to need a little more water.
Okay, you have water right there. Okay, I'm going to try to do the mandolin.
I can do it.
Are you sure? Yeah. I'm scared. Okay, can we just have a talk about the mandolin? Anybody else? Well,
there's a question on how do you bring the boil in a pressure cooker?
Okay, there's lots of questions here. This is very good. Let's go back up, and then you go ahead and shave it, and then we'll choke it. Okay, so how do you boil in a pressure cooker? Oh, wait. Okay, so good question, and that means I wasn't very clear. Actually, I'm going to go back to vital wheat gluten is wheat with the starch removed and the protein remains. TVP is vegetable protein. So you must be answering somebody else's question, Linda. TVP is actually, well, TVP is processed in the sense that they use soy flour, but to me, TVP is no different than having like a soy curl. But anyway, vital wheat gluten is, just use a knife and slice it.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
It wasn't cold enough, so he's going to do that. Yeah. So it's behind there. So TVP is soy-based, and vital wheat gluten is wheat-based. And the vital wheat gluten is kind of the way that seitan has been around for centuries, and it was like the vegetarian meat for monks. And so, oh, it looks so pretty.
Yeah. Texture's
Okay,
really good.
so let's see. I'm trying to get back to that. How do you boil in a pressure cooker? So I want to rephrase. We're not boiling in the pressure cooker. We're cooking on high pressure. So Dave's going to take the seitan that he's about to do. I want you to see this gorgeous corned beef. That's quote. Look at this, you guys. Look at that. And so nice and thin pieces. Okay, that says it's been 5 minutes, Dave. And then I'm going to take a nibble and see what I think. I showed you here. I want to show you. Like when you take it out, it just looks like a thin pastrami from the deli. Okay, I want to keep answering your questions while we keep going. So back to the boiling. I keep not answering your question. We're going to do it on high pressure. Dave has the pressure cooker going right now on saute to get the water hot. It'll make the pressure cooking process go faster. But we're just going to submerge it, and we're going to do high pressure for 30 minutes with a natural release. And that's why we did one in advance so you guys could see the end result. If you were going to do it on your stove top because you don't have a pressure cooker, then what you're going to do is put all the broth in a big pot. You're going to bring it to a boil. You're going to submerge the seitan, bring it back to a boil, and then just put a lid on and reduce the heat so that you just sort of have a bubbly simmer. So like maybe medium low, and cook that for about an hour. And that's how you would do it on the stove top. All right, I'm gonna keep going through these questions. How do you use a steam button on the Instant Pot or pressure cooker? You can, yeah. I use a couple different steam. You can steam just on your stove top, just a big pot, water on the bottom, steam trivet, wrap the seitan, and then steam it for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. You can check it in 30 minutes. Just open up the foil, open up the parchment paper. If it looks a little tacky, like it's sticking to the parchment paper, wrap it back up and keep going until you get like this, like the spongy texture that you see right here. Like this is just firm and meaty. So that's how you do it with the steaming. You can use the steam function on the Instant Pot, and I did it on high for 30 minutes with that. So someone wanted to see the carving. So sorry, we tried to do it was still warm. The best way to use a mandolin is when it's been frozen. I love that I'm just like doing my SeaWorld suck shot. And so I'll just do this just so you can see. So we store our seitan in the freezer so that when it's nice and frozen on the mandolin, it just shaves really thin pieces. But I just cooked this right before class. And so just using a sharp knife, it just kind of crumbles. Nice texture. So that's kind of what it looks like. So I hope that helps. And then when you say pressure cooker, do you mean air fryer? I'm not sure yet. Would you explain what you mean? Because I don't think I meant air fryer yet, except when I was talking about making country fried seitan. Are you wrapping the roast and putting in the, okay, I feel like I'm confusing you all and I feel very, very bad. So I'm going to step back for a minute. The way Dave is making the seitan today is in the stand mixer, he's making the dough. And is it ready? You want to show people what it looks like?
Yep. Yep.
And so go ahead and put your hands on it so they can see the texture.
Yeah, it's moist, but it's somewhat pliable. Yeah. But it's definitely moist. You don't want this to be dry. You kind of have to eyeball the ingredients. I had to add more water, mostly because I added that tomato powder. And we live at elevation. So for those of you who are used to cooking with elevation, and you want to find that nice that point where you've got that stickiness, the moisture that you can see, this is going to go directly, and in fact, we should just show you. Yeah. This is going to go directly into the cooking broth in the pressure cooker with no wrapping, no parchment paper, no foil. Get rid of that. Forget that. If you're going to use a pressure cooker, or if you're going to boil on the stovetop in the cook broth, and there are different reasons to do it. When you do that, it's going to add so much flavor because as you saw with the cooking broth, it's beef style vegan broth. It's mustard seeds and peppercorns and cloves and bay leaves and cumin and minced onion and liquid smoke. So we're bringing a ton of flavor into that. But some people don't have a pressure cooker, or they prefer a steamed seitan. I'll go back to that in a minute about how I wrapped it, but get that out of your head. Forget parchment paper, forget foil right now. This baby's going in. So let's show you what the broth looks like right now. Might have to go like this.
if you want to. There you go.
Okay, so the broth, I let it simmer a little bit. So everything kind of came together, all the cloves, the peppercorns, the bay leaves, everything. Again, we added ingredients to make it more beef-like. Beef style, yes. So I cut the roast, if you will, into two. Voila. In they go. And now we're going to pressure cook.
There you go. And this. Oh yeah, you don't know this one.
This one's new. I don't know.
Pressure cook on high. Okay, wait. Pressure level. Wait, what's going on? We need to cancel that. Cancel. Pressure. Pressure on high, and we want it for 30 minutes.
30 minutes. And
then we're using the Meaty, you guys. So this one has a quick release option that you can program, and we don't actually want that. So I'm going to put to natural release. Okay. So here it is in the Meaty, 30 minutes, high pressure, and we're just going to set that aside. So now let's just go back to clarify and hopefully answer that question about the parchment paper stuff. If you choose to, I know, isn't it good?
That's really good.
If you choose to steam it, I wrap it in parchment paper first, and I do that to keep it away from the foil, right? So I'm just putting parchment paper around because it holds up really great with heat, and I fold it into a pocket. Then I put it in the foil so that it can hold up and hold the form. So when I want a roast to have a very particular form, like maybe a vegan ham, and I kind of mold it in the way I want by putting it in the parchment paper and putting it in the foil, I'm actually, it kind of helps keep it together. So that's the only time I use parchment paper and foil is if I'm steaming it. Some people bake their seitan, and by doing that, you just put it into like a loaf pan or an 8x8 square pan, and you can put foil over the top to kind of keep the heat in and get some of that moisture cooking. And then at the end, if you want some texture, you can take that off. We're not using that method today. So I hope that that helped explain that part. And then I want to go back to, does anybody, somebody asked about air frying, and I want to see what I think I'm confusing people. So what did I say about air frying that you think that I meant? And I'm sorry about that. Can you make the pressure cook and steam instructions printable? I don't know what you mean, but I'll put it in on my website afterwards. The instructions. Oh, so someone got hurt by a mandolin. Yep, and we did this. Do I mean air fryer? Are you wrapping the roast and putting them in directly? Okay, questions are answered. How much liquid and what kind goes in? I feel like we gave that to you. Did you guys see that? Do I need to do that again? I'm just going to put the whole recipe in again so you guys can see. I don't know if it's going to let me. Apparently not. Did I try to put in too much? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that question was, so I'm just going to put the recipe in again one more time. And someone got answered on the air fryer. Okay, so those of you watching on YouTube, this is what it is like when we do a live class on Zoom. I want to answer all the questions and be as helpful as possible. Oh, I see. So someone said, Joey's iPhone says, I wrap my seitan in parchment paper, foil, and air fry. That would be like baking it. So yeah, and like, as I mentioned, baking is definitely an option. So great. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so are we going to move on to the meatballs?
Do you want to do meatballs or do soy curls?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, we're going to start with the soy curls. Thank you. Good memory.
I'm here to help.
Okay, so soy curls. How many people here have never used soy curls before? Let me know in the chat. Never, never, never. Okay, have not. Some have used them. Oh, someone said, thanks for turning me on to soy curls. Soy curls are my favorite thing in a bag, you guys. Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Having a moment. So soy curls. First off, I'm just going to show you what they look like when they're dry. They're crumbly. I'm not going to open this because I just brought it out of the freezer. They're dry, they're crumbly. So what is a soy curl? Let's look on the side so you can hear what the ingredients are. Soy curl. Okay, we're already cooking at pressure over here. Soy curls, whole non-GMO soybean. It's processed in spring water, okay? And so what happens is you take your soy curls and, oh, important. Buy them from the company. I adore them. It's butlerfoods.com, small family business. You can buy them through Amazon. I know some of you think Amazon is the devil, and I don't disagree with you. And I also sometimes just have to do what I got to do. Listen, I am not freaking perfect, okay? Try. Anyway, so when you order from Amazon, Butler Foods, they fulfill for that order. And so I like going directly through Butler Foods so that they get all of their money. And then they've been known to throw in some of their other stuff like yummy vegan jerky and things like that. Anyway, these can go rancid because there are literally no preservatives. It's a whole soybean that's been processed and dehydrated, processed with spring water and dehydrated. And so there are no preservatives to keep this from going rancid. So your instinct, and I have many friends and followers who just put them in the cupboard and then a year later, remember they have them, make them and tell me that I am crazy because they tasted terrible. I am not crazy. They didn't read what it says on the package, which is to refrigerate. Freeze these. We keep them, I buy them in 6-packs and keep them in the freezer, and we absolutely adore them. So I want you to see what they look like once you rehydrate them. So you don't just take a soy curl and eat them. You want to add hot water or hot broth to rehydrate them so they plump up and they get moist. This is what it ends up looking like. So I did this in a chicken style vegan broth. Look how meaty this is. This is going to be my vegan chocolate. Look at all your stuff. Oh my God, you're so moist. Okay, anyway, so that's what a soy curl is. Questions? Can you store the open bag of soy curls in the fridge? Definitely. I do, usually if it's the two of us and we're making dinner, I'll do half a bag. It's 2 cups of soy curls, and they say like a cup is a serving. You guys, there's hardly any calories in this, tons of protein, low fat, so filling. What's happening? In the freezer? Well, first off, I've never let them go that long. Well, actually, that's not true. When we buy them in a 6-pack, we'll probably be done with them in 6 weeks. I mean, we have at least one entire bag a week for the 2 of us. But having said that, for my vegan air fryer book tour, I made soy curl fries on the book tour. And so Butler sponsored me, and they sent me a bulk bag that was like
huge.
This. So we have this deep freeze downstairs in our garage, and it's like a little one from Lowe's, you know, it's like a compact deep freeze, and had that bag just sitting in there. We just scoop out the soy curls that we needed. And I would say we had them at least a year. So they freeze really well. And so someone's asking about, do you boil? No, you just need hot water. So to rehydrate them, hot or warm water, truthfully. And so I usually do 1-to-1. So if I'm, this is 4 cups, the entire bag. So I would do 4 cups of hot water or hot broth. I would just pour it over the dry soy curls for about 10 minutes, and then they plump up. So I'm going to keep going. They're not available at Whole Foods. Here in Colorado Springs, they are available at natural grocers. And if you go to butlerfoods.com, they have a store locator. And so if you're in Denver, Nooch, the Denver vegan grocery store, they sell them. And probably any vegan grocery store across the U.S. sells them as well. But you can also get them at Vegan Essentials. And like I said, directly from them online. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with these soy curls is I'm actually going to air fry them, and I'm going to turn them into chicken wings, in quotes. We're cooking in quotes today because this is Meaty vegan. So notice that all the liquid is gone. This is important because of the air frying function. And so as you know, many of you have air fryers because you don't want to use any oil or low oil, and I totally support that and get that. And you know that I have no problem using some oil, and I want these to puff up a little bit and get a little texture for my wings. So here's just a little bit. So this is like 3 cups of soy curls, and I think probably like 2 teaspoons of oil. And then what I did here is I've got a little chickpea flour. I've got a little starch. This is arrowroot. And then I did a little cayenne pepper, and I did a little chili powder. And I'm going to dump this into the soy curls, and I'm just going to gently toss to coat. And then I'm going to transfer this over to the air fryer, and I'm going to air fry this for 8 minutes. This recipe is from my book, The Vegan Air Fryer, and it is. Are you preheating, dear? Or no, you bring me the basket. Thank you. No, I'm going to take that. Thank you. So I'm going to use my Instant Pot Vortex air fryer, and I'm just going to transfer this in. And I'm going to do this for 8 minutes. And as I said, this is the soy curl fries. But what I'm going to do once these are done is I'm going to transfer them to the buffalo sauce to make these into chicken style or vegan chicken style wings. So I'm just going to shake these up a little bit. And they're going to go into the air fryer for 8 minutes. And I think I do that. I'm going to drop the recipe. I think I do that for on 390. Actually, let me tell you, Dave. Sorry. I would like that on 390, please, for 8 minutes. So I'm going to drop that recipe for you guys. Oh, Lincoln, Nebraska has their natural kosher too. Okay, any questions about that before we keep going? Because Dave's about to make some meatballs. Okay, there we go. And then I think I was going to drop the link for the vegan air fryer. That's the recipe for the soy curl fries. Best way to get excess water out. So you probably noticed I had no excess water because I nailed it. So what you want to do is take, usually the ratio is 1 to 1. So if you have 1 cup soy curls, you want 1 cup hot water or hot broth. 2 cups, 3 cups, etc. Because I did not want any excess water or broth, didn't want to screw it up because I wanted it to be nice and ready for the air fryer, I did a little bit, like I cut it by about 1/4 cup. So if you were rehydrating soy curls because you wanted to use them, you were going to throw them in a skillet for, vegan meat for enchiladas or burritos or for tacos. Don't worry about the broth. Throw it in there. You were going to need a little bit of it anyway, but you could also just put it in a colander and you can strain it. But in this case, the liquid, it absorbed everything and there was no excess liquid. Okay, so Dave, let's do the meatballs.
Cool. So going back to our differing thoughts on foods, again, I have gloves on because I'm going to get my hands in some mixing here. We're using Impossible Burger. We actually bounce back and forth between Beyond Burger and Impossible Burger. Everyone's got their preference. Choose whatever you want. I suppose if you, because this has soy and I think this is Beyond pea protein.
Pea protein, yeah.
Pea protein. So if you don't like soy or you're allergic to soy, you can use Beyond. But we're using Impossible today, and they're bringing it now, in non-preformed patties. Why are we making meatballs? Because spaghetti and meatballs, because meatball hoagies, because meatballs on pizza.
He made a meatball pizza.
Because
with spaghetti in the middle.
With spaghetti in the middle.
Oh my God.
So, that's why we're making meatballs. You can make a bunch of them and they freeze pretty well. We're going to make a small batch today, just for the sake of making meatballs. But the big thing is you got to have a little binder. And so we've got an amazing ingredient here. We have plant-based breadless crumbs. I'll hold that close. They have panko and regular. They're gluten-free, plant-based, and they add protein. So we've become big fans of those just because of the protein boost. But I'm also going to use a little follow your heart egg here because you do need a little binder.
Someone asked about what air fryer, so I just sent you, I put a link in for the air fryer that we use almost all the time, which currently is the Instant Pot Vortex, although Dave is going to show you our latest edition, the Ninja, in a minute.
I need the ingredients.
Oh, sorry, dear. Sorry, dear.
Come on, hurry. All right, so, yeah, this is what happens to put me on camera. Ingredients, we have 1 package of Impossible. I believe it's 12 ounces of Impossible meat, non-meat. And I've kind of mixed things up a little bit. In this, I've got red pepper flake. I have salt. I have garlic powder in this little container. So I've got 3 ingredients here. I think a teaspoon of garlic powder and salt and red pepper flake each. I threw a little more red pepper flake because I like it a little zesty. So we're going to throw that in. We have, in this one, we have some dried parsley and some dried basil. If you had fresh basil, you could use that as well. And I've got a little bit of breadcrumbs. I'm going to add the breadcrumbs in stages. It probably at least a 1/4 cup, but again, depending on whatever factors, elevation, you might need a little more, a little less. I'm also adding about a quarter cup of vegan parm from ViaLife. I just used a box grater to throw that in.
Okay, true story. I got to jump in with this. So the parm, when I came into the kitchen today when we were prepping, I was like, what stinks? And I was like, have I not used the garbage disposal? What's going on? And then Dave lifted up his, the mise en place. He had all of his ingredients together. I was like, is that parm? I'm like, that is the best testament I've ever seen for vegan cheese ever, because it was like stinky, like we know cheese can be. So I'm just going to put a shout out there for that cheese.
I'm going to throw in the Follow Your Heart egg, 2 tablespoons in half a cup of very cold water.
Because it's pretty amazing. If you haven't used vegan egg by Follow Your Heart, look at this. Cold water.
It looks like you've mixed up some eggs.
Really like it. I talked about that last week during the baking.
I'm going to put in almost all the breadcrumbs. I've got a little more than a quarter cup, but again, I'll see how things bind up.
And I'm going to show you this. Someone asked, and I typed the information in on the chat, but these are the it's pea protein, and so these are actually protein-filled panko breadcrumbs. We really like them.
I'm making a mess. It's cool. I have gloves on just because this is a gooey, disgusting mess that I'm making here. But if you don't want to wear gloves, don't wear gloves. That's cool. You could spoon it. You could use a spoon to mix it all up. But basically, and actually this consistency I think is going to be really, really good.
Oh, here, they can see.
Yeah, here we go. Yep. There we go. Yeah, this is coming together really well. I think I'm going to add a little more.
Why not?
Sure.
Do you want me to spray anything on the pan, or because it's nonstick? So
it's nonstick. I think we're fine, and we'll get some fat out of this.
Oh, that stinky cheese brand. Do we still have any, or is it gone?
Yep, it's ViaLife.
Is it in here?
Yeah, it's in the.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's really cool, you guys, because you get to use a cheese grater. So it's ViaLife parm, but look at this. I mean, it's like a block, and you just grate it on a cheese grater, and it comes out really great, and it smells in a good way.
Okay.
Adrian said, "Get in there, Dave."
Get in. I'm in there. All right. So we've got this nice consistency going on. So what we're going to do is we have this new Ninja air fryer.
Toaster oven.
Toaster oven. It's like, what was it, like 8 different things?
Basically.
Yeah. So we're going to use that today.
As the oven. We're not air frying it. We're using the oven.
Yeah. We're baking. Last time I did these, I did them in the oven. But it's going to be 85 degrees today, and I don't want to turn the oven on. So why would you?
And Dave's using a cookie dough scooper to make these.
Yep, you can use your hands, but this just makes it uniform. Technically, the recipe that I augmented, it says to like 1.5 ounce size balls, whatever. Just do this. This is, what size is this? 1.5 tablespoons. It's a great size.
I'm actually getting back to the meaty side of things while Dave is scooping this out, if you don't mind. So he modified an Alton Brown recipe.
It's my boy.
So here's our life. In the evenings, when we have the TV on, it's Food Network. And none of those shows are vegan, am I right? But Dave loves watching them, and I'm usually like blog posting to you all or coming up with things. So I'm just like, don't put on Star Wars or something like that. But like Food Network is fine.
Nothing wrong with Star Wars.
Well, whatever. Anyway, so but what Dave does is he loves watching like Alton Brown and all of his favorite chefs, because then he just starts making lists and notes in his phone to veganize them. And so that's what I'm talking about. Like when you live, like maybe one of you eats one way and one of you eats the other way. That's a fun way to bring each other into this, to say, okay, so I love to eat vegan, or I love to eat plant-based, and I get that you're not completely on board right now, but what's your favorite thing? Like let's play with this. Let's find some ways that we can pull this in. So some of you I know are super health motivated, so you scrunch up your nose when you see us using Impossible Burgers. You call some of the foods that we use processed. That's fine. But if you have someone in your household who isn't eating the way you are, usually the first step for any of us, by the way, even those of us who might be health motivated, is we started by trying to find something that reminded us of what we love. And so if you want to pull someone in from your household, your kids, your partner, your parents, if you're caregiving, what do they love? There's a vegan version of it now. It's either going to be in a package or you're going to find a creative way to make it with whole foods or natural ingredients. But by doing that, you get to be participatory together and to explore with it. And look at these gorgeous meatballs that Dave just put together.
Yeah.
Don't they look stunning? If anybody walked into your house right now and you were using those, they would have no idea that those were vegan. Am I right? Okay. Thank you, honey. Okay, so those are in the oven, and this is a perfect time for us to stop for a minute so that the meatballs are going to bake. I will tell you, the first time Dave made these meatballs, he actually didn't have to go through this process because he was making a spaghetti. As you know, because we have the vegan pizza class, you can watch that on YouTube every Friday night, and I'm going to show you something very funny. Those of you who are health conscious are going to appreciate this in a minute. So Friday night is vegan pizza night. It used to be Saturday night, but now like on Fridays, we're like so freaking ready for a party. And so like for us, pandemic style party is basically beer and homemade pizza, but whatever. So he watches like Food Network and Guy Fieri. Is it some diner drives? What's it called?
Diners, drive-ins.
Yeah. And so like he'll see a pizza and he's like, I'm totally going to make that. So he decided he was going to make spaghetti and meatball pizza, y'all. So he did. We always do homemade dough, and when I say we, I mean he. And then he put like the stuff on, but he put the meatballs on the dough, and they baked while the pizza was baking. Then he made spaghetti, and then he dolloped the spaghetti into the middle of the pizza when he served it, and it was ridiculous. It was so good. But I am gonna share something with you. I'm going to talk about something I haven't talked about very much here, and we're not going to make a thing out of it. And please don't leave me any comments about it right now in the chat. But lots of you send me emails to say that you've noticed that I've lost weight over the last few years. It's true. Some people congratulate me. Please don't congratulate me. It's my body. My body was amazing before. My body is amazing now. It's my journey, my story. And as you can tell, I eat all the things. If it came from a package, I'm going to freaking eat it. Olive oil, I'll drink it, whatever. So no special bullet point. And this isn't a diet class. But I am saying this to say that I have learned to find a way to love all the things I love and to find a way to work into what I want to do with my life and my body. So Dave makes pizza every Friday. And now I have him make a teeny tiny one for me in a 3.5-inch cast iron skillet. It isn't the cutest thing ever. And so he makes it in this little skillet, and that's Dave's.
This is mine.
Literally, this is Dave's pizza. And this is mine. And then I make a salad to eat next to it. And then I just take it out and I cut it in 4 pieces. And I'm like, I'm having 4 pieces of pizza. But anyway, I'm just saying. So, I just want to be real with you because this is how we eat around here. Okay.
There are leftovers when I'm done. I don't eat the entire thing. Whatever.
Okay. All right. So yeah, personal pan pizza. Exactly.
That's exactly.
So while things are cooking up and our soy curls are getting very, very close to being finished and ready to become wings, ask your questions now. But I just want to kind of step back and just remind you that the reason this class was so important for us is I actually had someone on my Facebook page. I didn't even respond to it, but the class is called Meaty Vegan. And then someone replied, Meaty Vegan, ? With a eye roll or something. There is no shame in our game. Listen, y'all, unless you were born vegan or vegetarian, we had meat in our life. We have food memories of things that we love. I go out for a walk in the morning and I smell bacon from someone's house. It smells good. I'm not dead. I didn't get rid of all the memories that I had before. Those things were part of my life. But when I smell it, I also think, and I'm so glad that I don't eat pigs because they're my friends and they're really smart. And most of them that I've met are way smarter than my cat or dog. So you can have these complex feelings and thoughts and emotions at the same time. So I am not embarrassed that in this household, we like to eat things that are meaty because meat is simply a word. Animal flesh is real and it comes from an animal and that requires death. We are trying to not participate in that in the best way that we can. And we're trying to find ways to cook in which we have delicious, filling, satisfying, healthy food that aligns with my animal ethics and Dave's environmental ethics. You're still here? Oh, fine, cool. Okay, so I'm sorry, I just went on a rant. I apologize. Okay, I'm gonna answer some questions. JL, shut up for just a minute. Okay.
400 degrees.
What was the question?
Time and temp in the oven.
Oh, I didn't put that in. Sorry, you guys. Here we go. I'm gonna drop right now. This is not on a website yet. It will be when I put the video link up. And right now we're calling them Impossibly Beyond Meatballs because you can use whatever vegan meat that you want. The dry spices in the wings. Oh, I didn't tell you that. I think I put that in the post, but I'll do it one more time. These are the ingredients, although I will say that I did not do it exactly. So what I just posted for the wings is chili powder, brown rice flour, and cornstarch, and none of that is true. I used cayenne pepper. I did use chili powder, and then I used arrowroot instead of cornstarch, and I used chickpea flour instead of brown rice because I was just using what I had. Where did I get the personal pizza pans? You know, honestly, I feel like I got them at Target. They're by Lodge, so it's the Lodge cast iron. It's not a pizza pan. It's a cast iron skillet. I just bought it because it was cute. I like kitchen accessories like I like shoes, so you know, whatever. Oh, the name of the air fryer from Ninja. Let me grab that link for you. So it's the Ninja. Do they look great? Oh, Dave's all proud of you right now. What is that Ninja air fryer oven? Maybe. Let's see.
There's no labeling on this.
Ninja Foodie digital air fryer. Okay, I'm going to show you guys that in just a minute. Hold on. So let me find a link to that, and I'm going to drop it in here. Keep asking questions. Okay, I think this link will do it. We love it because you guys know I had that Breville air fryer smart oven thing. That thing was like a monster, and it was ridiculous, and it took like 10 minutes to make toast. It was like whatever. So I put it into my cooking academy. But this one, I think you guys have seen before. I can't show you, but this one actually folds up. So see how it is right now on the counter? It folds up under the counter upright. And so I love it because I have all that room to do food prep, and then I just bring it down. But I want you to look at these soy curl fries. Are you ready? Look at these. Aren't these gorgeous? So first off, we could just eat these the way they are right now. They're little, do you want to try one? We're going to try them. Crunchy.
Yep.
Delicious. But now I'm going to put them in the buffalo sauce. You guys probably already know this. Buffalo sauce, 3 ingredients. Frank's Red Hot sauce, vegan butter, garlic. So I've had this on the stove, and I'm just going to transfer carefully. Yeah, you can see the thing. Oh, perfect, Dave. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Make sure it doesn't fall either.
There's a what?
Make sure that doesn't fall.
Oh, you're so smart. I got it. Okay, actually, I'm going to go like this and get all the good stuff out.
Wow. You're so brave.
I am so brave.
I don't even know what to say.
No, it's because basically I have calluses on my fingers.
No, no.
Okay. So I'm just going to stir this together and then show you what it looks like. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to do with our vegan style buffalo wings tonight. I think it's a little weird. I don't care. I already
a lot
know
of what she does is very weird.
Well, that's true.
Throwing that out there.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, so I think I put the recipe already in the link, which is just simply a half a cup of the Frank's hot sauce, and then a couple tablespoons of vegan butter. If you don't want to use vegan butter, you don't have to, obviously. And then the garlic is really nice too. But I want you to see what this looks like, and then I cannot wait to tell you what we're doing for dinner. So here you go. So we've just got buffalo style soy curls. Ready to try, Dave?
Yeah. Actually, a couple questions though.
Oh, okay.
Time and temp for the wings. They were actually in an air fryer, not a pressure cooker. They were in at 390 for about 8 minutes or so. And then someone did say organic GFG is the gluten-free Vital Wheat gluten substitute available on Amazon.
From the UK, but Amazon.
But Amazon has it also, yeah.
Oh my God, you guys, these are so freaking good. Tell me what you think.
Mine.
It's really good. Dave just left with the buffalo soy girls. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do with them for dinner tonight. So we have some watermelon, a little tiny little watermelon in the fridge, and I have a recipe for the book that I'm writing, or I actually wrote it. I'm in the editing process. It's coming out in October for watermelon fries. So basically just kind of slicing up some watermelon in sticks, but I'm going to give it a savory twist with some acid. I think I'm using lime juice and some hot spices. Well, I'm going to make that tonight, but then I'm going to chop it up and turn it into a salsa. And so we're going to put those buffalo soy curls on, let's see, I'm going to show you two things. On corn tortillas to make buffalo soy curl tacos with watermelon cayenne salsa. And then we're going to drizzle some sriracha ranch. This is from a company in Colorado Springs. This is vegan ranch. You just mix it with either mayonnaise, vegan mayo, or I do it with vegan sour cream because it just, you know, it's a little bit, not sour cream, I'm sorry, my homemade vegan soy yogurt. And so I combine the two. So buffalo soy curl tacos on corn tortillas with spicy watermelon salsa and vegan ranch. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about a meaty vegan meal. Okay, so we've got questions. Time and temp for pressure cooker, Dave already answered. The wings were in the air fryer, not a pressure cooker. Yes. Can you bake soy curls if no air fryer? Yeah, so let's just step back and talk a little bit about how you can translate some of these things. So if you do not, whenever you see a recipe for an air fryer and you want to make it in your oven, one, manage your expectations. You will not get the same texture, okay? You can cook it, but you won't get the same texture. That's why we use an air fryer, because it's in such a small space that rapid hot air rolls around the food. That's what makes it crispy with little or no oil. So that's why air frying gives you, sort of elevates that texture and makes it feel like it's fried. So that's one. But yes, you can take an air fryer recipe and do it in the oven. What you want to do is increase the temperature 25 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit and double the cooking time. And so we did these at 390 for 8 minutes. So if you were going to air fry them, I would say put them on parchment paper or a silicone mat lined baking sheet and bake them on 425 for probably about 15 or 16 minutes. And again, you won't have the exact same texture, but they'll be good. And then the opposite, if you have an air fryer and you have a recipe that you've loved before that was a baked recipe, reduce the temperature by 25 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit and cut the cooking time in half. So air frying allows you to have fried food without all the mess and without all the oil, but also allows you to have baked food in the summer without turning on your oven in the kitchen and overheating the house. I see a lot of questions coming through. Can you bake? I asked that. What was the third ingredient in the buffalo sauce? It's Frank's red hot sauce, or any hot sauce you want, but Frank's is amazing. Although I do want to show you this really cool thing. Do we have some? Yeah. Is it up or down?
I'll find it.
Okay, Dave's going to find it. Frank's red hot sauce or a hot sauce, garlic, and vegan butter. That's it. Okay, so, oh, Laura said garlic. Thank you. Is the wing recipe in your air fryer cookbook? Sorta. The soy curl fries recipe is in the cookbook, and that's what we did in the air fryer, and then we transferred it. The buffalo sauce recipe is in the cookbook for the buffalo cauliflower. And by the cookbook, I mean the vegan air fryer cookbook. I will drop that right now. And I'm going to link these up. I think that might be on my website too. So just so you guys know, if you're new to this, what I try to do is give you as many recipes as I can when I post the video, so you can watch the video over again. And so I will have some links to recipes, or at least I'll have some techniques. And again, I'll just say that if you like what you see when we teach these classes, we humbly and gratefully accept tips. I just dropped a link. Nope, that was for Campaign Zero. That was money that we raised last week for Black Lives Matter. This is the tip link. And other questions.
Excellent.
Okay, and Dave wants to add too, which I love. You can also get this powder form of Frank's Red Hot Sauce. We use this in everything, you guys. And so it actually stretches how long the hot sauce lasts, because you can see that we buy a big old bottle of it because we use this all the time. But you can mix this with broth or water and kind of make your own sauce. But we also just sprinkle it over things like popcorn or mashed potatoes because we really like spicy and hot in here. Dave, please.
Well, I think talking about flavors and, going back to what I was saying about how I want to eat things that remind me of the foods that I used to eat, it didn't register for a while until JL said something, because, she's a cookbook author and knows these things, that I'll use bacon as an example. Actually, take it back. I'll use corned beef as an example because last St. Patrick's Day we made corned beef and cabbage and potatoes, and I did seitan. Watching all the cooking shows that I do, meat from a pig or a cow or whatever doesn't taste like corned beef or bacon or whatever without a lot of seasonings. And so when I made corned beef, I used all of the seasonings that you would brine meat in to make it corned beef. So there was pickling spice, and there was thyme and dill and fennel. I mean, all these things, and that's what we did. And so it's the same thing with bacon. You can make seitan bacon. You just use some liquid smoke, and you probably just cover it in brown sugar and salt, and then bake it after you slice it thin. So you can, as JL said, you can use this seitan as a base and make whatever you want. You just have to figure out what is the end result. And then also, as she said, we've made Philly cheesesteaks with seitan, and then we'll slice it, and then in a plastic bag, I'll put garlic and parsley and a little bit of oil and oregano, and make this, and let it marinate, sliced in this paste all day. And then we cook it in an air fryer or in a skillet, and it takes on a whole different flavor. So just think about what you want. Going back to, I have an omnivore that I'm living with, and let's make something we can both eat. Think about what they like. If they like Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, make some beefy seitan like we just did, and then slice it and marinate it in garlic and a little bit of oil and some salt and parsley and whatever other flavors that might be, and then just skillet fry it. And then there's your sandwich. But it's it was very funny when people say, oh, I miss bacon. It's like, well, then add liquid smoke and brown sugar and salt to something and let it sit and bake. And then there you have it.
I think that's great advice. And then also just from the culinary side too, like how to do this with the recipe we gave you. So seitan is a little bit like bread or like baking. Like you really do need to get that ratio of dry and wet. So when you think about a meat that you want to make vegan style, Google it. And like in Google, say, what makes corned beef corned beef? What makes ham taste like ham?
Yep.
What makes pepperoni taste like pepperoni? I have a pepperoni recipe in my vegan pressure cooking book. And how did I come up with that? I Googled like, what does people who are using, like using animals to make pepperoni, what's the spice or the ingredient? Fennel, aniseed, chipotle, liquid smoke. So then when you find the meat that you want, use the recipe we gave you. Use the vital wheat gluten, use the garbanzo bean flour, the chickpea flour, and then all of those other spices, ingredients, just mix and match those with that amount with the flavor profile that will give you the meatiness you want from this particular thing. What's happening?
Seitan gyros. Yes, Kim, Seitan gyros for the win.
That's a
brilliant idea.
Make that happen.
And Joey, thank you very much for your comment.
Yeah, that's very sweet. Thank you. So any other questions? I can't believe we're actually only 10 minutes past 2. These classes, we used to say they were an hour. Then there was a point when they were almost 2 hours, and trying to get them as close to an hour as possible. But we also really want to give you some information. Oh yeah, let's see these meatballs.
Got a few minutes to go. Let's see what the temp is.
Okay, look at him. Dave's using the food. Isn't he adorable? He's going to text the temperature. So cute. Okay, whatever. Wait, yeah, I know seitan gyros. I'm all for that. And Dave will make it happen. But you know what will really impress me? If he makes a seitan gyro pizza.
They're done.
Just say, they're done? Let's see them. Come on, bring them out. I get to be bossy, and hopefully Dave cleans the kitchen today.
No, I'm not. That's going to be a joint venture.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Pull that down.
Yeah. Okay. So take a look at these meatballs, you guys. They're very hot, but I want you to see the texture. It's the texture you would expect from a meatball. And I'm actually going to cut one.
Yeah.
Want you to see the inside. Oh, nice job, Dave. Look at this. Look at this. This is about to go in my mouth. Are you ready? Okay, I'm doing it. Freaking delicious.
Is there half over here?
Yeah. So you know what we're gonna do?
Oh man.
I know, right? Can we have lunch and dinner today? It's only 2 here. Okay, so I already told you what we want to do with the soy curl.
Wow.
The buffalo soy curl are gonna be tacos, possibly for lunch, maybe for dinner. But what we plan to do with these actually is we have a bunch of spinach from our produce delivery that we haven't used. So we're going to do a dry saute of some garlic and get it really brown, almost crispy, and then quickly throw in a big cast iron skillet, and then throw the spinach in and just maybe put a little lemon juice over it. And then we're just gonna do dry sauteed spinach with crispy garlic, marinara sauce, and these. So, I mean, you don't even have to do meatballs over pasta. We're just gonna do a big thing of spinach and with lots of garlic, lots of lemon juice, pasta sauce, and meatballs.
Did you want to show them how this folds up?
Oh yeah, it's hot, but go ahead. Dave's gonna show, sorry, I'm eating. He's gonna show you how the air fryer folds up.
Done.
Look at all that space saver.
All the space back. Got that to cool down, but
yeah. It might not be ideal if you have a big family, but for 2 of us, it's absolutely perfect. Okay, so I see, let's see, any last questions? Someone said brown food tastes good. Okay, that's hilarious. I don't know where that came from, but I love you for saying that. What is the difference between using chickpea flour versus all-purpose flour? Well, a couple of things. The main reason that I like to use it is the protein content. So first off, the Vital Wheat Gluten has lots of protein in it too. And seitan itself is one of the higher protein vegan meats that you can, and vegan foods you can enjoy. And a chickpea flour holds up really well to heat, adds a really kind of fluffy texture, and it adds that protein element. Like when I'm doing things like the soy curls, I called for brown rice flour in the book. I use chickpea flour today. When I want puffy French fries, puffy food in the air fryer, I use a high protein flour because of texture and because of flavor. Thank you guys. People are saying thank you. Beyond works really well in these meatballs, 100%. We use whatever we have. I'm on Team Impossible. Dave has been on Team Beyond, but I think you've changed your mind recently, or he's getting, more
ambivalent right now.
Okay, so I want to tell you a couple of links I'm dropping. So once again, I'm dropping the link to the seitan. I'm drinking. I'm dropping links to a couple of books that I wrote. If you want to leave a tip, that's wonderful. Upcoming classes, which includes vegan grilling next week, vegan baking 101, plus a book party on July 12th. And then my first Pay What You Can class will be at the end of July, and it's going to be summer soups. We're going to make a gazpacho, no cook gazpacho, but we're also going to make a beautiful purple cauliflower soup, really creamy. I have a link to my newsletter, so that's how you'll get all the information about upcoming classes, and a link to my Facebook group. Will you go get Harry and let him say hello? Because Harry's barking and he's driving me nuts. Okay, I have a few more questions I see. Thank you, Karen. She says she loves Sundays with JL. I love Sundays with you guys. Really didn't know how many people were going to come. Do you want to meet Harry? Come here, buddy. This is Harry. He's my little pug chihuahua, mini pig. Do you want to say hello to everybody? Do you want a meatball? Yes. Isn't he the cutest? Okay, sorry. I can't help it. Okay, so any last questions, you guys, before we call it a day? I will probably in the next couple of days have the video up on my website. Oh, Vernon, you're at the dog park. That's awesome. I hope you're having a beautiful day. We took him to the Bear Creek. No, not Bear Creek. Red Rocks has a dog park. We took Harry yesterday morning. He's all about the meatballs. It's so true. You guys, I love Sundays with you. I want to thank you so much. And you know I'm going to do the thing that I love to do at the end. Dave, do you have any final words? I hope his final words were, I cannot wait to clean the kitchen. Okay, so if you feel so inclined, I would love it if you would, I'm going to unmute you. I'm unmuting all of you. Don't say anything naughty, although I think I already cussed once. So, okay, I've just unmuted all of you. And I'm opening up the screen so I can see your faces. And if you just want to say goodbye before we leave, I would love to.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
You can unmute yourself. Bye, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Laura.
Thank you.
Mwah, back at you.
Thank you for hosting us today.
That's right. We
I
love
really
you
needed to learn
so much. It's been a pleasure. If you're a father or do any kind of parenting, and this is your day, enjoy it. You're here with
doing
us.
my doggy parenting.
Next week we're grilling. I don't know what we're doing. We'll see what happens. But you guys seem to be okay with that. Can I stop giving you the ingredients. I'm kind of done with that. I know some people like the big long thing, but I prefer to make it on Saturday night. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, you guys are amazing. I will see you soon. And thanks as always. You're the best. I love spending Sundays with you. And Harry says goodbye.
Bye. Bye, Harry. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Jay.